You got to go in and fill 4,000 jobs. Why? Who the hell said you have to have 4,000 people come in with you? Why can't it be 1,000? No one's ever given me a good answer for that, except that's the way we do things. That's the way we do transitions. That's the way the deep state works. Okay, well, that's not really a good answer.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's great to be here as always. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you guys had a happy Thanksgiving and that you stuffed yourselves silly. I wasn't going to do a video on the Kash Patel nomination. You saw him there from the Sean Ryan show in the intro. But I've decided that I thought about it a little bit, and I came up with a couple things that I would like to throw out there into the ether that maybe Mr. Patel sees this video or somebody close to him sees the video and says, hey, you know what? Yeah, maybe we ought to look into those things and get some answers for the American people should he become installed in that position. Remember, he's been nominated. He still has to be confirmed by the Senate. And we're going to do that after we hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. They're my go-to source for all things medical, whether you're needing a bumps and bruises kit or you need legit medical equipment like tourniquets, chest seals, and all the like. They have all that stuff, including kits that are organized for specific applications, whether you need it in a car, whether you're concerned about car accidents, or you're considered about, I don't know, chopping your leg off with a chainsaw or something like that. I don't know. They even have one that is organized into a small Pelican case for those of you who are worried about rising floodwaters and things like that. Check them out at Medical Gear Outfitters, and they offer VSO subscribers a discount. You can find all that information over at the affiliates page, and special thanks to Medical Gear Outfitters for making today's video possible. Okay, so first of all, who is Kash Patel? Well, Kash Patel has a extensive career working in national security, and I could list all of the things that he's done at minor and high levels throughout the years, but I don't think that we need to burn all that much time. You can go look up his resume for yourself, but they will say that he is unqualified. I disagree. And one of the things that I think makes him most qualified is the exact thing that will now make him the new focal point. It was Gates. He will now be, mark my words, the new focal point to undermine the incoming administration. And the reason why, I'm going to take some more words, the last words that we're going to listen to from Sean Ryan's show. I very much encourage you to go over and listen to the whole hour and 40-ish minutes from the Sean Ryan interview with Kash Patel to get some insight into why this is precisely the person that we want to head up the FBI. Why are they so upset about a Kash Patel nomination?
What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
So massive government reform.
Yeah. And you got to work with Congress to eliminate the billets. This is one of the things we did when I was deputy DNI. We got to DNI and I was like, okay, what do all these people do? We've got the CIA, so why do I have analysts doing the CIA's job here? Why do I have a floor of them? Like, give me a good answer. I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But if you can give me an answer that satisfies their existence, I'm all in. Well, we just have our own people. Okay, well, now we don't. And we went to Congress and zeroed out a bunch of billets.
Is that, or is that not, what you went to the polls expressly to say? We want less government. And in order to have less government, we want your people to go in there and shrink it. Eliminate as many positions as possible from this government. That is why they don't like Kash Patel. On top of that, he has said some things about using the Federal Bureau of Investigation to do its job and go after people who are conducting themselves illegally inside of our government. So, for instance, using the power of government to persecute your political opponents, a reckoning might be at hand. And I've got a couple ideas for Mr. Patel to look into. So the first one that I think the American people deserve answers on, it has to do with free speech. Now, I don't know if some of you are still feeling this or not, or if you guys even remember this, but I can assure you that this impacts me every single day. There are people in government right now that are controlling, fist all the way up to the elbow inside of some of these social media platforms. To this day, as an example, and I told my wife this, and this absolutely shocked her. To this day, we still cannot talk about, can't even say the word. Because if we do, the video will be demonetized. It will be hidden still to this day. So I want Kash Patel to go into the FBI and use the resources of the FBI to investigate our government. And I want to know who is in charge of talking to these companies that tell them what they should and should not be allowing online. Is it occurring in a vacuum? I doubt that it is. In fact, Zuck has already said that it didn't happen in a vacuum, and he said that in front of Congress, that he was pressured to do particular behaviors during that particular period. So I have a really hard time believing that all of the things that have been done to people like me and my colleagues in, for instance, the firearms space happened just because some purple-haired person at YouTube decided that they had a burr up their ass and wanted to go after people. No, I strongly believe that there was an interaction between the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, or let's call it what it is, the White House Office of Gun Control, where basically every town and all of their leftist wacko rabid anti-gunners all had seats at the table. Not to blow the can wide open, but it's not just my intuition that tells me that there was some crosstalk between that particular office and various high-level individuals at various social media platforms working to censor Americans' free speech, particularly in the lead up to the 2024 election, which I might add, they lost. There needs to be consequences for violating people's constitutional rights. And it shouldn't just be the people in the government that were doing it. It should also have fallout for those in the private sector that were working at the behest of agents of the government. The second thing that I think the American people deserve, and I had to be careful about how I phrase this. Again, case in point to the first thing that I talked about, free speech. I can't even say this the way that you would normally phrase it in a regular conversation because of targeting. There was an event that happened in the first month of the year a couple years ago, made big headlines, and it's been in the news constantly since then. And there was a woman that was killed during that event. There was a lot made of that event and the violence that occurred that day, but there's only one person that died that day, and she was shot and killed by an officer. And that investigation was swept very, very rapidly, a couple months. And they wrapped that thing up and swept it under the rug. That was not a murder investigation. And I would like to remind everybody that there is no statute of limitations on murder. That investigation should be reopened as a murder investigation to determine whether there was actually any wrongdoing. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there, and there may be a very strong case for self-defense on the part of that officer. Very well could be. But I think the American people deserve an actual public trial on that one, an actual transparent investigation on the facts of that day, because straight up, again, can't talk about it. It's not something that we're allowed to talk about. So now that I've skirted around that one and hopefully didn't get this video hidden, you'll know if you look at the view count. Number 3, this one we can actually date and time and name names. The American people, there was a big to-do in Congress about the Malinowski murder. and I'm going to call it a murder.
Like Brian Malinowski that potentially was just doing, selling these guns, and I don't know the whole circumstances, but he's dead because he was not probably realizing what you were doing in changes of this rule. So my question is for you is going to be, do you understand how dangerous your definitions have become?
Respectfully, our definitions are based upon the law that Congress passed, and it is based upon our observation and experience in the field.
Your interpretation. So let's just go to your definitions. As a normal American, I understand your definition.
It's implementation. It's implementing Congress's law.
Okay, how are you going to implement? I want to understand. I am a gun owner. And I'm going to decide occasionally, say, guys, occasionally I can do maybe 100 times, maybe 5 times. You know what? I am not engaged predominantly a profit. That I don't even have time to do a profit. So at which point, as a regular American citizen, so I understand that you are not going to cut off my electricity, show up to my house, and try to storm the house with a bunch of people that you don't even realize what's going on. So I can be in a situation like a lot of other Americans that not even realize that now you're redefining who the dealer is. So I want to get understanding. Summarize me understanding how I can explain to my constituent what it means now and how I am predominantly earn a profit in this. What is really definition of that?
Right, we try to say things on both sides.
My time has expired, but I'll tell you, you put American lives in danger and your ATF life in danger by doing this, because you doing gun control. It is a very clever way to make everyone in dealer have a zero tolerance and exercise gun control and Second Amendment rights, but you put your people in danger and American people. I yield back.
God, we really need Brandon Herrera as ATF director. That is quite possibly my favorite clip from 2024. That was Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, and guys, I said this in my original video covering the topic. She's already married, fellas. You missed your chance. We had this big congressional hearing, and the DOJ and under Garland and all those guys said, oh, no wrongdoing. Yeah, we want another look at that. That was investigated from an administrative procedures perspective. So were there any guidelines violated, for instance? Were there any procedures violated? And when everybody above those people says, oh, no, we wrote the procedures, it's fine, no wrongdoing. I want that investigated as a murder. And the American people want that investigated as a murder, because here's the thing, the circumstances of that whole thing, and I think Victoria captures it perfectly, that's why I put it in there, is any reasonable human being, if you blow their door off the hinges when it's still dark outside and roll into their house, you're going to have a problem. She said it very, very succinctly. You're putting a lot of people in danger. And in this instance, you shot a man inches from his wife. You shot him right in the face and killed him. It's first thing in the morning when you had an opportunity, multiple opportunities to apprehend him peacefully at work, and you were serving a search warrant, not an arrest warrant, a search warrant. Why did he need to be there when you were searching? He doesn't need to be there. There was something up with this thing, and the American people deserve to know exactly what it was. And I ask Mr. Patel, we want this investigated again by somebody that isn't involved in that giant circle jerk over there. All right, so I'm looking at this thing. It's already 20 minutes on the timeline. I'm going to be able to chop that down a little bit, but I think we should probably break it off here. So I'm going to throw it up to you. What do you want to see gone through with a fine-tooth comb by someone who is going for the express purpose of A, shrink the government, and then 2, go look at the injustices that have been perpetrated against the American people by their government for the last several decades? What should he focus on? And that's all I got for you guys today. I'm filming this late on Sunday night. I'm going deer hunting first thing in the morning because it's Ohio opener. So maybe I'll be able to get back and do a story in the afternoon, but probably not. because I can't hunt in the afternoon because I got a doctor's appointment. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully we'll see you in another video here at the VSO Gun Channel.